Hello and welcome back to the Rachel Holmes podcast. I am recording the audio, the podcast, so you might be listening to it. And I'm also filming the podcast for YouTube, which is something I seldom do. Usually when I'm recording the podcast on my own, I'm walking around the house or I'm walking while I'm talking. It just helps me. It helps me think. But I wanted to bring you up to speed with a brand new business that I've recently started. I thought if I document this journey and talk about it, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, where it's going, struggles that we've had, and then some of the wins that we've had with it, then it might inspire you. I hope it does. And this is what this podcast is all about. So for those of you who've been following me for a million years, you may remember when I actually started my business, Choreography to Go. I started the website Choreography to Go over 20 years ago. And it is a long story. And if you want me to ever go into the story of Choreography to Go and how it came about, then please let me know, because it's a fun story. I started that website with a view to streaming choreography, because at the time it was around the fitness industry, was all around step aerobics and aerobics and all of these great choreography concepts that were very, very popular at the time. And I was selling DVDs, doing tours with Fit Pro and Fit Camp and with Jane, Athletes in Action. And we were selling unbelievable amounts of videos, VHS, that then went into DVDs. And over the years, we've probably sold thousands and thousands of DVDs. So I knew back then that there was an opportunity to live stream choreography. And so Choreography to Go was born. We weren't able to live stream it at that time, very early, but I was able to record little clips, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and put it on a website. And that's what Choreography to Go was all about. Fast forward all these years later, and I've still always loved that concept. Choreography to Go just grew and grew, and the membership grew. And the fitness industry changed, and alongside freestyle came the Les Mills concept and the branded programs, where I lost so many of my instructors who went from teaching freestyle and creating their own classes and concepts to teaching Les Mills and branded programs. So I lost a huge amount of business. And when I look back, the business took a massive nosedive as that happened. We always retained a hardcore amount of freestyle instructors, but a lot of people left and went over to teach those programs. And subsequently, as new people came into the business, less and less freestyle instructors came into the business, and more people came into the business and then taught branded programs, Zumba and everything that followed. So it's been interesting. But of course, before the pandemic and then during the pandemic, I just saw a huge amount of those instructors all come back because they weren't able to teach branded programs. And a lot of gyms and centers have actually started to stop using Les Mills. So we've had a big upswing with people wanting to retrain, do the ETM again, or it's the group fitness, training Pilates, and again, continually being upskilled. So my business has always been around giving instructors new ideas, new choreography, business ideas, class content. That's what I do. So over the years, I created an online studio. This is before COVID. And originally it was as part of my Kickstart program. And it was a women's wellbeing Facebook group. And again, it was a subscription model. I wasn't live stream. I don't even think there was Facebook Live at that time. No, there wasn't. It wasn't Facebook Live. I would record the videos here. And then I would upload the workouts, and there were 15-minute workouts, upload them to the site, and I would do a motivational video around nutrition and adherence. And I ran so many programs in a Facebook group like that for years and years. And that really built up almost a second arm to my business of more consumers. A lot of consumer, mainly women, would join those groups. And I used to run 7-day groups, 14-day groups, 21-day groups. And I ran those for years. Again, it built up a big amount, a big pool of people that loved working out at home. So I'd got my instructor business going on over here, and I'd got my consumer facing business going on over here. And I was also teaching in the community. And I loved this group of women, and that grew, and it grew to a considerable number. And it became a really important part of my business. But I was always a problem. There were so many problems with Facebook groups, as we know. Facebook groups are probably the best thing about Facebook. If Facebook groups didn't have groups, and you still got all the reach that you do get right now on Reels and written posts, then I think you probably wouldn't use Facebook as much. I probably wouldn't log into Facebook as much as I do if it wasn't for Facebook groups, because the community and groups are phenomenal. The supporter community, my fitness Pilates community, my Studio Live community. I've got loads of these groups that have got hundreds, if not thousands, of instructors in. They do take a lot of time and energy and emotion. You have to put a lot of content in there. There's a lot of people asking a lot of questions. And it can be a full-time job managing all these Facebook groups. But come the pandemic, my online studio that grew the same as everybody else's, and I love that. I love that timetable in there, and I've always wanted to make more of that, create more, do more classes, and have more classes running through the day. And I know people can access pre-recorded videos at any time, and that's very convenient. But even with a live, the energy that you get when people are there behind the camera, when you are at home working out, you can see everybody chatting in real time. And there's something very powerful as that. Now, I know it's different to a live class face-to-face scenario, but it's a fantastic service. And of course, we've seen the rise of Peloton and Courtney Black's app and James Smith app and all these different apps that have classes and programs on. And I've always thought that there was a space for something in the middle that had classes running all day, lots of different types of classes with different instructors, and not just high energy HIIT classes, but classes for beginners, classes for people with medical problems, classes for people with arthritis, classes for sit fitness. And I thought, actually, I can marry this all together, all the brands that I've created over here in Choreography to Go. So Sit Fitness and Lift Lean and Fitness Pilates and Walk Fit and Menu Fit and all the little brands I've created. I could actually put all those brands on my own timetable. But I was thinking, I can't teach them all. It's too much for me, and the pressure's too much for me to do all of that. I can do a fair amount of it. And I started to look into creating an app. And we actually did create an app about 2 years ago at considerable expense from scratch, really considerable expense. And we did create an app, but there's a lot of issues with an app. You do need a good development team. And if you find a good development team, they are costly. Development fees are quite high. If you get somebody that's good, even if they're offshore, it's going to be a lot of man hours. And whenever the iOS platform updates, which is sometimes daily, then that has an issue with the app. You have to resubmit the app to the App Store. There's so much that goes into it, a lot of intricacies in the back channel. And also with an app, I'm sure you know that the App Store take 30% of any takings. So if you take a payment through the App Store, £5, £10, £20, whatever, then Apple take 20%, 30% actually, it's 30% that Apple takes. It's quite a big chunk. And the logistics of building an app with all the iOS updates that are happening so frequently, it's constantly paying people to update it. And it was just too costly. Now you can buy off the shelf apps, and you can buy into other programs where you pay a monthly fee and you get access, or basically white label an app. And that was something that I looked at, but it just didn't have the functionality of what I wanted to achieve. So we went back to the drawing board, and we thought the best way to do this is to build a website. And there are with WordPress, there are so many plugins and extensions that are coming through on WordPress that actually I can create a WordPress platform, which we've done, and then we can create a WordPress app, actually, which is an extension of the website that actually doesn't go through the App Store. So that will be our next plan. So the idea was to build a platform, live stream directly into the platform with my classes. These are consumer facing classes, and then start to bring on other instructors and presenters. So Kelly, Nikki, and I've just been having a conversation with Karen Gibson at Salsa to bring on more and more instructors. So we can have this full timetable of classes running through the day, from beginners to advanced to dance to medical conditions to all of the things. So it's taken about, I had the idea, it's an idea that I've had for years and years and years. It was something that I put a business plan together about a year ago, And then my developer, who's developing Choreography to Go, and she works really closely with me. She's local to me, although she's in Thailand at the moment. We put a business plan together, and yeah, it was pretty costly. I'm not going to lie. Because we were building it from the ground up, and she would need to bring in additional developers. So we built it. So that was the first step. The second step was to work out how we're going to live stream directly into the platform. And there's so many ways that you can do that. Now, bearing in mind, I still have a Facebook group that's very, very active. And I don't want the Facebook group to die. I want to keep the Facebook group active and get the community still, because the community is amazing in there. But what I want to do really is section off different memberships, which has been quite difficult in the past, because delivering everything in a Facebook group, somebody joins, they jump into the Facebook group, it's like, whoa, where do I start? It's hard to catalog the workouts. It's hard for people to understand where they start. Often you go live and people can't see it. It's just fraught with lots of issues. We could build all of the classes on the website. We could have different membership levels. So if you join as a WalkFit member, you just get access to the WalkFit classes. If you're a MenoFit member, you get access to all of the menopause memberships and so on. And then there's an all-inclusive membership where you get access to everything. So as a member, you can see everything, but depending on your level, you can't access it. So if you're a WalkFit member, you log in, you'll see the WalkFit dashboard. Or if you're MenoFit, you'll log in and see the MenoFit dashboard. If you're all-inclusive, you see everything. And then the WalkFit person, they may see the classes that are coming up that day, but when they click onto them, if it's not on their membership level, just like when you're a Sky member or a Netflix member, you can't see the content that you've not unlocked. So I knew that would be better. So beginners, they could go directly to the site, they could access their classes live, and it would be live, it's streamed in. And then anybody that joins as an all-inclusive member, then they can get access to the Facebook group. So that's a perk of being an all-inclusive member. So I'd written the business plan, and the business plan then was to live stream, crack that technical problem, which I'm going to talk to you about in a minute, which there has been a lot of tech problems, and then start to bring on board more and more presenters and instructors, which I've just said. We've got Kelly, and then I've got Nikki's coming on, we've got Karen Gibson, and I want to start to open it out to more and more fitness professionals and presenters who will be guest presenters and maybe do specials or week-long specials, or they'll do a course for a few weeks. I mean, there's just so many ways that we can take this. Another element that I'm really interested in developing now is corporate partnerships, strategic partnerships. So going to local businesses and saying, okay, well, your staff can access the WalkFit membership or the MenoFit membership, or they can have all inclusive. And we can start to onboard staff, and we can do bespoke classes for your employees, your staff, because we can live stream. They can go to that particular page, and we can do a class just for them. So that's another opportunity that I really want to look at when we've got the infrastructure right. So we launched a sort of semi-soft launch. I did a free week to try and get as much feedback as I could and just work out, because when you are using it as the developer, as the owner, as the ideas person, you often can't see the wood for the trees. But then you do, when people are using it, you understand it, how it all works. There was some issues with live streaming. We couldn't get the chat. I tried YouTube, I tried Vimeo, I tried StreamYard. We looked at Twitch. And at the moment we're enterprise level Vimeo, and we live stream Vimeo into the website, and it gets all the chat, and people don't have to be a member. They can just put their name and they can chat, which is brilliant. You need that on a live streaming platform. And it also simultaneously streams into the Facebook group, which is brilliant. So at the moment, we've kind of split the group. Some people are staying in the Facebook group, but the majority of people are coming across to the website. That's where I am so far with it. It's exciting, isn't it? I thought I would bring you up to speed, and hopefully this might inspire you. Maybe this is something that you would like to do, something that you've been thinking about. To just make this whole live streaming setup a lot more professional. So it's not a business built on Facebook, which I do think has a limit and is only going to attract a certain amount of people. Whereas when you take those customers off Facebook, they're your customers, not Facebook's customers. Even though they're paying you, you're still using Facebook's infrastructure. But now I have control. I can deliver so much more via the website. So I wanted to bring you up to speed with a little short podcast. I will do a part 2. Let me know if you've got questions or comments or what you think. If you want to come and try it, I'd love you to. It's studiolive.club. You can join as a free member and get access to a few classes a week. You can join as one of the additional memberships or inclusive. You can join 7 days a month, or you can join as an annual member. So I hope that's inspired you today, and I'll do a part 2 very soon. Let me know in the comments if that was help. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube and make sure you follow my podcast.